Sad, Dalton.
How come?
It's the last episode for this year.
It is.
Last episode of the DJ Preps Football Preview Show. Brad here, Dalton there. Welcome back for, yes, the final episode of this show for 2018. We'll be back next year if we're both still here. John Pitts. But anyway, we're going to spend the next few minutes. What we normally do, we'll pick out 3 games to watch and preview them, and then we'll have the Bralton Award. There's only one game to preview because we only have one area team playing for a state championship this weekend, West Point. So we'll talk about them. First, though, let's go over last week's picks, Dalton. Of course, we retired the coin a few weeks ago. Now we make the predictions. Last week, oh look, I went 3-0 again.
Nice.
Dalton, 2-1. Overall, I'm 12-3. Dalton, 11-4.
Lost my spot on top.
Thanks for playing. Oh no, I tossed 2 of my cards, James. Hi. Okay, let's look at the championship schedule this weekend. They're playing it down in Hattiesburg, Hub City, H-Town, the Berg. What else they call it?
I should have worn my The Berg shirt.
You should have. Got to plan better, Dalton. Friday, the 3A title game, Water Valley against Seminary, 11 a.m. The 1A game to follow at 3 is Simmons against Nanawoya. Is that how you say it? It's not Nanawaya. It's like Nanawoya. Anyway, 6A game to cap the evening, Horn Lake against Oak Grove. It should be a good one. Saturday, the 4A title game, Louisville against Poplarville at 11 o'clock. 2A game, Scott Central against Taylorsville at 3. And then we ended up with West Point and West Jones at 7 in the 5A title game, and that is the game that we're going to talk about right now, Dalton. West Point going for a 3rd consecutive state title. West Jones in the title game for the first time ever. First trip here. So West Point, this is old hat for them. They've won 9 state championships over the years. So going for big number 10 here. 3 keys to the game, Dalton. Okay, key number 1. For West Point, you got to block Byron Young. He is a defensive lineman for West Jones. He is very good. He is committed to Alabama. And I've got him with 118 tackles, 29.5 tackles for loss, and a bunch of sacks.
Yeah, I think he's got about 18 sacks. And it's going to be a big test for him.
Big test, because West Point, that what they do, they run the ball. They run it very well. But you got this guy in the middle who can clog some running lanes there. But West Point also has speed, so I wonder if we'll see them maybe try to get to the edge a little more often.
Yeah, I would imagine so. They've played against guys of this caliber before, though. He's an Alabama commit, but they've played against Gilo Clemens at Starkville.
Yep. And
Charles Moore, Louisville, both SEC guys already this year. And I think combined in those 2 games, those guys had 16 tackles combined.
Yeah, and West Point's run game is peaking right now. Mm-hmm. They're averaging, 382 a game in the playoffs?
Yep, and they've garnered 400 twice in 3 weeks. So
yeah, I think they had about 450 against Olive Branch last week in that 35-0 win. Key number 2, harass the quarterback. West Jones has a good quarterback, Alan Follis, but he is just a sophomore, Dalton. And a sophomore who's not been in on this kind of stage before is a first-year starter. So you think maybe West Point can rattle him a little bit. The defensive line for the Green Wave, led by Jalen Cungus, they're good at getting to the quarterback and making sacks. Cungus has 8.5 sacks just himself. And so to me, Dalton, that's kind of where it starts. That defensive front for West Point that's so good. They've got to make life tough on the quarterback.
Yeah, well, I want to see if they can do what they did last weekend again. They bullied the Olive Branch quarterback. I think he ended up 1 of 11 for 0 yards and 2 interceptions or something.
Exactly.
That was a rough showing for him. If they can get to him, the West Jones guys as well as they did the last week, then it'll be a long night for that guy.
Yeah, he hasn't thrown many picks, but West Point is good at making interceptions. I believe they've got 14 this year, so strength against strength in that matchup. And then key number 3, which school is farther west? West Point is way over in Clay County. It's that way, east of here. Mm-hmm. They're both in the eastern part of the state, but West Jones, I guess, is in the western part of Jones County. And I looked on the map; it is slightly farther west than West Point, but not by much. Mm-hmm. Whatever that's worth. Okay, prediction time, Dalton. Who you got? Give me a score.
Gotta go West Point State Championship. 35-24.
Okay, a little bit of a high scoring game. I'm going to go a little lower scoring, but I will take West Point as well, 20-7. A, because I really do think they'll win, and B, even if I'm wrong, that means Dalton will be wrong, and I'll still maintain my 1-game lead over him in the standings and come out the victor. So congrats to me. But, next year we'll really tell the tale because we'll be picking every game
season.
ourselves.
Yeah.
So this was kind of a shortened version of that. So there you go. West Point, 7 o'clock on Saturday against West Jones in Hattiesburg. And let's give out the Bralton Award now. Brad, Dalton, Bralton. The best 1-2 punch from last week. We'll go with West Point's Brandon Harris and Dantarius Cannon. Harris, the running back / quarterback. He rushed for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns on 18 carries. Had an 85-yard touchdown run on West Point's first play. First offensive play of that game. And then Cannon, a running back, had 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. On 12 carries, he had a 59-yard touchdown run on West Point's third offensive play. They jumped out to a quick lead there on Olive Branch and never looked back. So congrats to Brandon Harris and Dantarius Cannon of West Point for winning the final Bralton Award of 2018. And now we go over our coverage plans as always, and this is where we're going to be. Dalton is going to be there. It's all Dalton all the time. Friday and Saturday. You're actually going to go to all the games.
I'll be at all 6 games.
But you're going to, of course, cover the West Point game for us on Saturday night. So follow him for updates on Twitter at DLMiddleton8. And follow D-Journal Preps on Twitter at D-Journal Preps as well. And that's it. We're done. Oh, be sure to check out our podcast every Wednesday. iTunes, your podcast app, preprally.djournal.com. Okay. That's it.
See you guys next year.
All done with the old DJ Preps football preview show. With James, what's going on? Oh, hey, that's James. That's the guy behind the camera.
Bye.
You finally get to see his face. Was it worth the wait? I think it was. I think it was, Dalton. And thank you, James, very much for being the guy that brings the magic to this show. It's really all you. It's not us. Okay. I'm going way too long on this. So we're going to say goodbye. Follow our coverage in the Daily Journal and at djournal.com. And one more. If I can make a paper airplane out of it real quick. I cannot make paper airplanes at all, Dalton.
Yeah, that was awful.
It's not bad.